All right, so I'm going through on this first gen EX500. It's a 1990, and the number one essential upgrade they say you got to do or your bike is gonna die is switch out the first gen cam chain tensioner for a second gen cam chain tensioner. And the issue with the first gen cam chain tensioner is that the mechanism that is supposed to keep pressure on this plunger to keep applying pressure to the cam chain guide can fail. If that fails, all of a sudden there's a ton of slack in the chain. It starts slapping all over the place, and you end up with top-end rebuilds a whole lot quicker with this thing. So everything in the internet says, change this thing. And you can swap it with a second gen one, and I believe the second gen one started at like 1994. So this is like 87 to 93. This is like 94 to, I don't know, 2009 or whenever the hell they stopped them. I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about these bikes. I'm trying to work on this for somebody else, so haven't done enough research, but everything I see says this is a big one. So only a couple differences between these things. They seal differently. This one has an O-ring. This one has a gasket that covers the whole thing. I bought a new gasket for it, even though I probably could have used the other one. 2 bolts are going to secure it. It looks like the bolts are the same length. If you're not sure which one you have, when it's on the bike, and I should show you where it sits. It sits up here. I pulled the radiator, so it's a little bit easier, but it sits right there. That plunger goes through. I can feel that that piece will take up slack in the chain there. If you're not sure what you got, put a socket on the back while it's still installed. This will have a 10mm on the back. This, the second gen one, the one that you want, will have a 12. So the way that this works is this has a positive locking mechanism on it. So like when this plunger comes out, there's no way it's going to push back in, because that tong there, or tang, whatever the fuck it's called, that's going to keep it in there. So when this is installed, we'll install it like this, put it into the bike, put our 2 screws inside of it. The spring and the rod will go in, and when we go in to tighten it down, it's going to push it, and that is going to apply the tension on the chain that we need. Put the gasket on there, we'll be all good. This thing isn't going to accidentally come back in like this one can and grenade your engine. As far as I know, that's the number one upgrade. The number one upgrade I would recommend is getting rid of the pair system, because the pair system's just a pain in the ass. Now, the previous owner of this bike had really good intentions, but they did some dumb shit. So what they did, this valve cover should be sitting on the top of here. This valve cover would sit here with those 2 breathers that connect. They hook up to a reed valve, and then it hooks in to the air filter, or the air box here. So it's put unburnt gases back into here so they could go back through, and basically it does nothing except for cheat emissions. So my recommendation is to get rid of it, because it just makes a whole mess in here and it doesn't help you at all. So what you need to do to delete that pair, what they didn't do, and why I'm kind of laughing about it, because they spent all this time putting a K&N filter in it and all this other stuff, sticker bomb and a whole bunch of shit. They never plugged the air box back up. So that K&N filter really wasn't even doing anything. This is what the valve cover looks like. What they did was they took these 2 breathers, and these 2 here would run to another valve, which would then come into that air box we were talking about earlier. They just plugged these 2 together, which I guess can actually work, but it's not the right way to do it. But their head was in the right place, so I applaud them for that. The right way to do it would be to remove these, and you could remove these valves here, but all I'm going to do is put block-off plates over the top of them, and I'm going to put a little bit of gasket sealer on it, because these are never going to open up again. And the finish on these, I got these from Six Sigma. The finish on these, I don't like how it kind of sits, so I'm not certain it would make a great seal, so I'm just going to put a little bit of that gasket sealer on it. Anyway, so we block those 2 off, we get rid of all that stuff that's just in the way, and the part that they missed, and hell, they could have done it with a piece of duct tape. This needs to be plugged. Now, I need 1 size bigger on the silicone plug, but I don't quite have it, so I might actually just wrap this thing in a little bit of tape so I can make the right type of interference fit. But if you get that, then you're all good. Then you've done what the internet says is the number one thing you got to do to your bike. And then what I say you gotta do is get rid of that bullshit pair stuff. Because I hate pair systems. And then the other thing the internet says you have to do is replace the flywheel with a 2nd Gen 1 or some modified one or something like that. But also the same internet that told me that was trying to sell me one. So I don't know if I totally buy into that one yet. Anyway, that's the difference between a Gen 1 and a Gen 2 cam chain tensioner on an EX500 from somebody that doesn't know anything about EX500s. Watch Fart, thanks for watching.